Suffering is part of life, but suffering is something that we all want to avoid, sometimes even denied and said that Christians shouldn't suffer. But Paul in Philippians, he actually explained to us that if you want to know God, there's two things you need to know. One is to know his power. And in the evangelical church, we actually lack the zeal to know the power of God to heal and to reach out to the people. But the second thing that I think the Pentecostals is lacking is that we need to know the fellowship of suffering of Jesus. We need to suffer because Jesus suffered for us. So in this passage we're reading when Jesus died on the cross, it tells about three types of suffering that Jesus has that we need to experience in the fellowship of his suffering. The first thing is physical pain. Jesus suffered scorching by whips. There's a multiplied whips on his back with metals. So when it comes whip out, it's physically and literally rip his back open. He was beaten in the head and with a crown of thorns on his head that he bleeds. Now, every day when we are cut by a thorn of rose, we feel painful. Just imagine a thorn of crown on Jesus' head. And then he died on the cross for hours on end. It's the most excruciating pain that human can experience. The second thing that Jesus experienced in suffering is the emotional trauma. He was betrayed, denied by his best friends. He also was denied justice by the government. And also the people who accused him are religious leaders who are supposed to worship him. And they turned the crowd against Jesus. They're fans of Jesus before when Jesus performed all sorts of miracles. So he suffered lots of trauma and he was crucified as a criminal. The third thing that we learned of suffering is the spiritual abandonment. The most important thing as Christian is we have this love and relationship with God. But Jesus on the cross cried out, he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? He was lonely, he was lost, frustrated, and in deep soul pain. Jesus suffered all this pain for us. My application is, as Christians, we need to experience this pain, not because we want pain, but we know how to bring glory to God through all these sufferings. And also, with Jesus dying on the cross, we should be confident we have the access to God, and also we can love one another and sacrifice for him and for the whole world. My prayer that all of us will experience the power of God and the fellowship of his suffering.